Hello, gorgeous beings. Today, the question is, what is suicidal ideations and how do we deal with them? Now, this may seem like a heavy topic, but I'm going to keep it light. I just felt like it was really important to touch on because there is a real difference between suicidal thoughts, suicidal ideations, being suicidal, and I guess we don't want to ever go there in conversation. And this channel started of me doing tarot and zodiac signs and us just talking about our higher consciousness and inner self. But I mean, I really just felt the need to tap into it a little bit because anyone on the spiritual journey or anyone who's just into predictions or prophecy or just kind of consciousness, we are aware of how we feel and when we are up and when we are down and when we feel good and when we don't. And what I do want to share and what I feel is highly important is I want to talk about the concept of suicidal ideations and how they crop up in really little ways of thinking, but more importantly, how I personally manage those ideologies. Over the last 3 years, we're not going to talk about me too much, but over the last 3 years, I've had a difficult life, as we all do, right? No victimhood over here. We just own the narrative. But it's a situation of, I thought, how do I really acknowledge the fact that I have had suicidal ideations and how would I identify that? And for me, it's like, it's the little comments that you have to yourself is like, what's the point of doing this? That's a gateway, right? Those kind of thoughts of what's the point of me existing? Why do I bother? What's the point of me doing this? Why? What? Like it's the pessimistic underbelly of selfhood, yeah, where you're questioning yourself in your immediate reality and somewhat you feel disassociated to the matrix, right? So we're talking about the 9 to 5, the day-to-day life, your life on social media versus your life off social media. Just that feeling inside of yourself that makes you second guess you, right? I'm also going to do a piece on imposter syndrome. I've been incredibly plagued by imposter syndrome all of my life, and I'm really trying to own that, so I'm going to do a piece on that. But suicidal ideations and imposter syndrome do kind of overlap, but suicidal thoughts, right, specifically in my opinion, share your opinions in the comments. I'm not claiming to be a professional in any of these fields, I'm just like to share. But suicidal thoughts to me are, I want to kill myself, I've had enough, I don't want to exist, I don't want to be here, right? And that leads to thinking about different ways in which you want to kill yourself, self-harming, self-sabotage, destructive behaviors, pushing others away. I mean, this is the Hermit channel as well, so if you are an introvert or an INFJ, I am an INFJT personality type, and we are quite intuitive and feeling and sensitive, and we'd like to revert internally and just sit with ourselves. But those thoughts that we have of ourselves a lot, they could crop up and turn into something a little bit more toxic. So it's the thoughts of, what's the point of me existing? Why am I here? There's no point in me trying. There's no point in me being. I have no purpose. It's those thoughts there that you wouldn't assume are suicidal ideations, but at a lower vibration, they are suggesting that you being here in the now moment and existing is pointless, you know? And when you start having feelings of, well, there's no point in my existence, then what else would we call that? The DSM would say, the DSM-5, Diagnostics Manual and Strategy for like mental health diagnosis, right? It would really suggest that that is somewhat of a suicidal ideation, or at least a gateway into the thinking that you and your identity and your selfhood isn't enough for this world, this kingdom, this universe. And in that moment, if you don't nip it in the bud and find something that is higher vibrational, you can pull yourself into a darker space in time, you know? You don't want to go into a black hole where you feel like life's shit. You know, I always call it the 5D for me. It's the heavier vibration. It's the shadow in its truest form, you know, and we all need a bit of shadow, yin and yang, light and dark, masculine and feminine, but it can eat away at your soul and leave you feeling a little bit empty, right? And I say that because I've been healing over the fact that my dad passed away from suicide and overdosed on heroin, and that was a really painful thing for me to sit with, and I really had to take time to truly understand what that meant, you know. And I've had a lot of conversations with family and friends and therapists and supportive individuals, and that I've had so much different feedback, you know. And when someone is suicidal and going through it, you don't really know what they're going through, and some people can often say, well, that was selfish of them, you know? How selfish of them to not consider us and to just take their own life and then leave us in the lurch like this, leave us in pain and trauma like this, you know? But on the other hand, it's like you don't know what that person's been going through internally all of their life and how long they've been carrying that low vibrational thought of what's the point of my existence, you know? And suicidal ideations, in my opinion, everyone experiences. I would love someone to go, no, I've never in my life thought, what is the point of me being here, you know? But I don't think that's the case. And I think if every single person who listens to this goes, there has been a moment in this lifetime where I've thought, why am I here? What is the point of this? Fuck this life. Then that means you've had a suicidal ideation at a lower level. Even if it's unconscious, there's been a part of you that just has questioned your whole existence. And although that doesn't make you want to immediately kill yourself, I mean, once again, that key word is it's that gateway, isn't it? It's that pessimistic thinking. It's that lower vibration that if you are not strong enough and well enough supported in your community by others or by your higher self, that you could go that way. So the final point I leave you with is, what do we do? What do we do, and how do we get through that feeling of there's no point in me existing, there's no point in me being here, I have no purpose in this lifetime? What do we do? We've got to have a higher source. Now, this is an interesting conversation because I know that atheists exist, and I embrace all faiths and belief systems over here. I like the challenge to really kind of converse with different perspectives. But for me, when I have conversations with my therapist, there's always this process that we have to go through. If you have therapy, they ask you these kind of survey questions at the start of every session. And they're like, we just have to do the risk assessment. Are you feeling suicidal? Have you had suicidal ideations? All of those kind of questions. And it's always for me, no, right? No, I'm not in that space. No, I don't feel that way. And they always ask me, so why don't you? Right? I like the fact that they're following up, because we could easily lie, but that's so you don't have suicidal ideations in this sense. But why not? What is it that's making you not have them? Right? And for me, it's nice because every session I repeat this same narrative back, and it's really refreshing. It's like I am a spiritual being, and I believe in reincarnation. And I actually am clairvoyant, and I connect with the divine, and I'm actually fully aware, I shouldn't laugh, sorry, when I say that, but I am actually fully aware of the process of death and rebirth, but more importantly, what happens when you tap out early. Now, this sounds really fuckery and a bit harsh, right? But receive it as you can. I've had a dad that has died of suicide, so I think I can say this, you know. And you've got to make the comment like, I've got white friends, I've got black friends, it's okay, I can say this, you know what I mean? Like, disclaimer, my neighbour's white, my neighbour's black, it's okay, it's okay to have an opinion. But my point being is, I am so aware that life exists beyond Earth and my current physical vessel, and that we are all souls and infinite beings, and karmic debt, energy resonance, energy never dies, baby. Listen to Tesla, right? Listen to the greats. I mean, I had a cry about Einstein the other day, a cringe moment, but literally, I am such a weirdo, right? Because I was sitting down, kind of just writing some stuff and reading some bits on Einstein, and then I just started crying. I was like, Einstein, I miss you so much. Like, why are you not here in the now moment? Like, why did I have to come to Earth when you're gone? I would feel so much better if you were here now, because at least you understand me. I mean, it says a lot about self when you're just sitting in your house, like, really missing Einstein, wishing he was with you to ride through the storm that is this ascension, you know? But with that in mind, right, as we talk about suicidal ideations here, it's a situation of, if I decided to tap out now, right, and this is how I look at it, and I hope someone finds solace in this, or strength to keep going through a difficult time through this ideology, because this carries me through life, right? If I tap out now and I think, fuck it, I'm going to take my life, I don't want to be here anymore, let's end it all, let's leave this plane, then, oh my God, I've got to go and sit up there with the judicators of the higher realms and explain to them why I didn't fulfill my soul contract. And actually, one element of me energetically is sitting up there waiting for my adjudication, waiting in the courtroom to speak to the higher ups spiritually, whilst another element of me has already been reincarnated and rebirthed into the new me. The moment I tap out of this reality, I'm flying out of someone else's vagina in another reality, but also there are multi-fractal elements of us and different different versions of us, somewhat doppelgangers, living in different realms. So one of me's shooting straight out of a new vagina as I exist here, but another version of me is also sitting up waiting to connect with Brahma at its highest form, to really weigh up the pros and cons of what I did in my lifetime and decide what's going to happen to me energetically and really reaffirm that soul contract. So while that's going on and I've already rebirthed, it is a different parallel of space-time, because as I've come out the vagina in the physical on Earth 1, Earth 2, or whatever planet or species I come out on again, I already have a soul contract. But in the other element, I'm actually still up there in space-time, right, where time doesn't exist, waiting for the adjudication of actually whether or not I've fulfilled the contract in this lifetime, you know? And that takes a while. When my dad passed away, he was up there for a good while waiting for adjudication, and he was pissed. Like, I've never shared the story of how I connect with spirit in this way, so if you're intrigued, stay. I hope it finds someone who does go through ups and downs and needs a little bit of reassurance about the afterlife as well, because I've had a lot of spiritual experiences with my passed on loved ones, and I will never forget my nan, bless her, before she passed away at the hospital, and I knew she was going to go, and she was sitting there with me, and she looked at me in the eyes and she goes, I know what you do, and I understand that you're clairvoyant. She goes, just explain to me a little bit more about what's going to happen when I'm up there. She said to me, it was just me and her and we were alone, and she goes, what's going to happen? Like, when I'm up there, am I going to see you? Am I going to be okay? Like, is Mick there, which is my granddad, is her husband, is he going to be there? Like I'm scared, Louise. And I never really had a conversation with my nan like that before, and she's always been so strong and brave. But in that moment, she said, I'm scared because I don't know what's up there, and I know I'm going. And we all knew she was going, and we were all scared. And it felt really rewarding for me, for her to even ask me that, you know. It was really refreshing, but it was also really nice to be able to share with her what I knew. And I was like, once you're up there, you'll see me every day, and I'll see you, and you'll be able to help me in ways where you haven't helped me now. And like, in that, if we want to say it like that, you can help me more than now, because I've got to travel all the way to Bedford to see you, and I don't get to see you every day. I get to see you every couple of months, and I don't get to spend as much time with you as I would like. And I'm working, and I'm a young girl going out and turning up, and I haven't really spent as much time with you in this lifetime as I should have, you know. But the thought that you're going to be up there and you get to see me every day, and I get to see you every day if I want, and you can chime in and you can come to my house for tea and coffee, and we can spend time together. And she said to me, do you promise? And I said, yeah, Nan, I promise you, when you're up there, I'll see you, you know, and you can talk to me. And that was a really rewarding experience. And my nan passed away naturally within like 3 days after that, and she came straight to me with my granddad and shared her experiences, and she's so happy, and she was really open to different faiths and religions, as was my granddad. So now they travel through space-time together and come and see me whenever they want, and they're always holidaying up there. And I mean, it's amazing what visuals they'll give you to show you how they're living in the higher realms, you know. And why that's so interesting to me is because my dad passed 5 days after my nan's funeral from suicide, a very different situation. And my dad has a lot of background in crime, and he had a really difficult karmic debt to resolve in this lifetime. And I believe that he couldn't do it because his mum wasn't with him, and his mum was everything to him. And I felt like he would just be better off not being here, right? And although that's hard to sit with, I mean, it was even more interesting. My dad didn't come to me straight away when he moved over to the other side. It took him about 3 to 4 days to start coming in and talking to me a little bit, and I couldn't see him fully. And I said, Dad, what's going on? Why are you not with Nan and Mick? Because they could pop in and I can see them really fluently and clearly. He's like, Louise, I am fucking stuck up here. He's like, I tapped out early, and now I'm sitting in the adjudication room. Fucking hell, I don't know how long I've got to be here. This is what he said to me. It was hilarious, right? He's like, I've pulled a ticket. I'm waiting in the fucking queue, number 101, right? My dad, like, it makes me laugh because he's like, we had jokes about, it's like 101, like, I pulled 2 tickets. I've got 101, I got 104. Like, you know, you take 2 tickets just because you're thinking, fucking hell, I'll just take 2 tickets, and then we'll see what comes first, and then I can give a ticket to someone else who comes in late, whatever. Like, it's just kind of like a little thing. cultural thing. But he was like, I'm sitting out here and they're telling me I've just got to wait. And my dad didn't come through to me fully in spirit for a good 3 weeks, right? Because he was sitting in the adjudication room, right? In spirit, waiting for an assessment, and they had to go, like, the visuals he gave me is like they're going through everything. It's like I'm fucking back in prison again, he said, because I'm fucking sitting up here, can't leave, basically on probation again in spirit. He said to me, they're checking for everything I've done, the way I've gone out, the way I've come in, all the karmic debts and all the soul contracts I've agreed to. Well, they're going through it. He's like, I just want to fly. I just want to go and join Nan and Mick on holiday. They're sunbathing right now on the beach. They're living their best life, but I'm fucking stuck here. And he's like, Nan can still visit me like she did in prison, but my God, I really should have thought this through. I didn't know it was going to be like this when I came over, you know? And anyone who does have anyone else that's passed away from suicide, I mean, it's going to be different for all of you. I wouldn't want to put that same narrative onto you, right? Because it could be different. Everyone experiences things differently. And this is not a personal reading or mediumship session, right? But it is just me sharing my experiences with you, because I know that my experiences really give me strength in this lifetime to understand that it is more than me, and it is more than my physical vessel. And anytime I do have low vibrational thoughts, what is the point of this? And just simply saying, what is the point of this, is enough for me to realize that's pessimism, and that is a gateway, that is suicidal gateway, right? Thinking. And I want to minimize that, and I want to make sure that I am thinking more high vibrational. And a friend of mine actually did mention toxic positivity to me today as well, so we'll throw that in and say it is really easy for us to get into narratives of toxic positivity and feeling like we always have to smile. I've just learned that I don't have to smile all the time. I spent 2022 not smiling after years of just being an over smiler, and it was really nice to not smile, you know. And everyone's looking at you a bit stern, like, are you all right? You got a screw face? Is that like your resting bitch face? And it's kind of like, yeah, I've just developed a resting bitch face because it makes me feel better than forcing a smile, especially after knowing that my dad was such a smiley guy, but he suffered with depression and a lot of sadness, and he had the biggest smile you could ever imagine. I've got photos of my dad 5 days before he died with the most humongous smile and laughing his head off, and through all of that he was struggling. And smile and depression is a real thing, you know, and we all go through ups and downs. Life isn't easy, and there are always moments where we say, what is the fucking point of all of this, eh? But we've got to know that there is a point. We are the point. You are the point. I am the point. And we can pivot in any direction and change our thought in any given moment to align to a higher vibration where we know we're made for more, and we can do more, and we can change anything that's going on in our life and find a way to get through it, you know. So I hope that found some of you guys really well, and I want to send you love and light and healing energy. Feel free to check out the website. Feel free to hit like and subscribe, and I'll be back soon with more.